The Out of Bounds Show podcast is brought to you by Boar's Head, premium meats, cheeses, and hummus. Boar's Head, compromise elsewhere.
WRKS Pickens Jackson.
All systems go.
Live from the Whiskey 61 Lounge inside the BankPlus Studio.
This is now awarded.
Live in the studio. It's the Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds. Streaming live worldwide on the Out of Bounds radio app. And on your radio at ESPN 105.9.
All set? Let's go.
The Zone.
Here we go. Good morning. Welcome in. Woo! Out of Bounds, the Out of Bounds Show. 105.9 The Zone, WRKS, ESPN, streaming live for you on the Out of Bounds radio app. I've got Blake Mania with me. I am your host, Bo Bounds. We got a good show lined up for you today. Some fun topics to dive into. You can hit us up on the Farm Bureau Insurance call-in line. Gator Matt was not happy earlier in the week. Neither was Rebel Red and Blue, RRB. That number is 601-707-3750. Twitter handle at Bo Bounds. Haven't been on the Twitters as much the last day or so, but I hope it's treating you well. Twitter handle at Bo Bounds. I think our Twitter got a little crazy yesterday with the Fred Smoot interview late in the show. I'm sorry, Smoot DeChambeau. Let me get that right. The infamous text line, 601-885-3776. That's where all the magic happens. And that is brought to you by your next John Deere tractor. AgUp.com. Manage your land with the John Deere tractor from Mississippi Ag. John Deere Gator, John Deere Lawnmower. We're live in the BankPlus Studio. Good morning. Welcome in to the Out of Bounds Show, and thanks for making us your sports and entertainment show of choice. Thought we had some good interviews yesterday. You know, Mike Leach was talking about tacos. Mike Detillier weighed in on LSU and Ed Ogeron, and we're going to get into that here in just a second. Big national article dropped on the Ogre. And maybe where they're headed or not headed down in Baton Rouge. And then Fred Smoot was totally wrong on Will Rogers, but very, very entertaining for 23 minutes.
Salt kills snails, not players.
There you go. Smootism.
That was hilarious.
He was bringing it. And, he reached out to me. He was like, "Hey, why haven't you called me?" You know, and I sometimes you and I miss, like, it had been too long.
You get bogged down in all the other stuff.
Yeah, we're college football, doing more NFL, but
and once you schedule all your normal interviews, you realize how quickly we do 9 segments a day, 5 days a week. So it's 45 segments. But those things fill up fast. You don't think about that,
do.
But they do.
And our 7:30, 8:30, and 9:30 segments are all 24 minutes, you know, without any breaks. But when you drop a few guests in there, it's only so many of them to book. But we were glad to have Smoot on. Boy, he wants to be in the Mississippi State. He should be in both, the Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame at some point. But the MSU Sports Hall of Fame, you know, he wants to be in. And, Smoot came, he was at Mississippi State in 99 and 2000. And that was at a time when MSU, I know this is kind of hard, maybe hard to wrap your brain around, but had done no branding. I mean, not that Ole Miss and Bama and LSU had done that much, but Mississippi State almost refused to do any branding or marketing or tell their story.
Yeah.
And the good. I mean, good Lord. In the 90s, they trumped anything that's, been a Final Four, College World Series, SEC championship game, but it wasn't a peep out of the, Starkville. And that was driven by obviously their athletic director didn't understand anything about marketing or branding. And others. And it's remarkable. And so he was there at a time. I mean, I think Smoot did the most marketing of Mississippi State at Mississippi State as a DB, which, I mean, it's a fun position, but 9-year-olds don't get up to go watch cornerbacks. Sorry, Smoot. And yet, like, he was the guy that did the most marketing.
Yeah, he was one of the few bright spots to watch all the time. So, yeah, I remember as a kid, we would pretend when Smoot made some interception in Starkville, it was like one of the few TV games that were on TV, right? He made a pick, and he got tackled after like 10 yards or whatever, and then he got up and he airplaned himself down the field, right? Like, ball in hand, he's got his arms out like an airplane. I remember we would do that in the backyard as kids, because it was, Ole Miss fans could pretend to be like, offensive players. We had we didn't have.
You didn't have any of those, except a running back.
Yeah,
maybe, every now and
but
then.
like you said, it is a shocking thing to me that has not been rectified by now.
And then they started doing that. Well, they started marketing and branding themselves, Hail State and the whole thing, back in 2009 and so on. And through the whole Burns Strickland thing, and they've done a really good job since. But Smoot wants to be in the Hall of Fame, and he should be.
Name me a better defensive back in Mississippi State football history.
Well, Darius Slay was not as accomplished at the college level.
Agreed.
He was more accomplished at the pro level.
100% agree.
And Jonathan Banks was good, but he wasn't Smoot. But he did win the Thorpe Award, but that was through some marketing, right? And a great story and so on. Walt Harris was a first-round pick, but
so if you're in the conversation as number 1 or 2 at your school, at your position group, you're in the Hall of Fame, in my opinion.
No question.
It's not really a debate.
And he was an All-American.
Exactly, and a Playboy All-American at that.
Which either I didn't know or had forgot. Because when he shared the story, as controlling as the NCAA
is, and
has been over college athletes, which is totally illegal, for decades, I cannot believe that back then
they had a deal with
that Fred Smoot, Deuce McAllister, and Michael Vick and all the guys that he named flew out to Tempe, Scottsdale, Arizona, and hung out for 2 or 3 days. And who knows what they did at a Playboy shoot or whatever was going on, Playboy party or what. I can't believe that was legal.
They did a Playboy All-American it was a college football preview magazine that Playboy put out.
I can't believe they allowed him to do that. As strict as, the rules, obviously stupid, ridiculous, nonsense, but as crazy as the rules have been for college athletes, Blake.
Yeah, it's incredible. But I just did a little research. They've got Playboy All-American teams going back to 1967. 1967. Who knew Playboy?
I wonder if Smoot got to meet Hugh Hefner at some point in his life. Hugh Hefner's passed away, but
yes.
I wonder if Smoot either got to meet him on that trip or once he got to the NFL. I should ask him that. I'll give him an hour or so to get up, even though he's on Eastern time, and see.
That was funny, though. When he dropped that he was a consensus All-American and a Playboy All-American, I was like, oh, okay.
There you go. And the best is that he's Smoot DeChambeau.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what he is on the golf course.
On the golf course.
Right.
That's hilarious. What a character.
Oh, man. All right. Good morning. Welcome in. We've got an article that we need to jump into. Ed Ogeron, it looks like he is on the hot seat. And Pete Thamel wrote a piece. It's time for LSU to think about life after Ed Ogeron. And the Tigers AD has reputation for chasing stars. We're going to jump into that. Yahoo Sports. show is powered by the Golden Moon Casino Sportsbook and award-winning Dancing Rabbit Golf Club. DancingRabbitGolf.com. You're listening to 105.9 The Zone ESPN. Big Board. Coming up next. Good morning. Welcome in on a Wednesday.
The Out of Bounds Show podcast is powered by Breezy Oaks Ranch. For Mississippi-raised premium Wagyu beef and heritage pork shipped straight to your door, visit breezyoaksranch.com.
Big Board. What's on the big board?
Dak Prescott? They play in Arlington again this weekend against your New York Giants with Joe Judge. One Mississippi State alum against the other.
I wonder who fans will cheer for.
I think we know.
Joe Judge? Heard that.
Oh, man. Joe Judge.
Oh, man. I just cheer against Jason Garrett.
That guy landed an NFL head coaching job before he was 40 years old.
With no coaching experience other than being special teams coordinator for Bill Belichick. Pretty incredible.
Yeah. The Mara family's made some terrible decisions. Not that one. I was thinking personnel.
Man, that was cold-blooded to Joe Judge.
Man.
Cold-blooded. It's dangerous out here on these streets.
Well, Tanner's taken up for me.
Who, Jeff Tanner?
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. I mean, look, what they did with Eli his last 5 years was a disgrace to the Giants and to Eli Manning. So,
yeah.
You know, I'm with you. I understand. But anybody who hires Jason Garrett, and this is not a shot at Joe Judge, but
yeah, it is.
I don't trust your decision making.
I understand.
You hire Jason Garrett as your OC. I mean, it's what you got 10 years in Dallas. You needed more evidence that he doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, and that offense was just way too conservative and not what you need to do today.
It makes that loss by the Saints even more perplexing. I mean, what are you doing, New Orleans?
The fact that Sean Payton lost is pretty remarkable considering how good a coach he is. To the Giants.
To lose to a worse team, or a team that's not decidedly better than you. It's different to lose to a good team, but you lose to a team that was over. I mean, come on, guys.
No doubt. Are you ready to call the Arkansas Ole Miss game yet, or you want to wait a little bit?
Woo Pig or Ole Miss? I don't know. It's 6.5.
I can tell you, I do know where I'm leaning. I mean, I'm leaning
you're
towards Ole Miss.
You're a Sam Pittman guy.
No, I like him. I don't think this stuff is some kind of 8-year run in Fayetteville by any stretch.
Go Hogs. Yes, sir.
I mean, it's Hogs all day, right?
Is it 6.5 Ole Miss?
Yeah, that's what it is.
I'd give the points, but
there you go.
I mean, we'll get more into predictions later, but yeah,
it's the game of the week. There's no doubt. Because
Georgia at Auburn.
Yeah, but are we convinced that will be competitive?
Boy, they've had some great games over the last 25 years. I mean, great games. You could argue that series has been as good as any series in the Southeastern Conference. They're not that far from each other, Blake.
Both struggling offensively.
What is Auburn? An hour and a half from Atlanta, and Athens is on the other side at an hour drive. Yeah, they are struggling. Well, Georgia's amazing on defense, and then we don't really know what they are on offense. They hadn't had to really show anything.
No. So I don't know. To me, the reason I think Ole Miss Arkansas, obviously is somewhat biased because we're in Mississippi, but also because I think you're deciding second place in the West potentially.
Could be.
If Ole Miss wins, they've got the front-running line to the SEC West second place crown. Or tiara, I guess, because it's second place. But
Mike in Birmingham is coming in high on the agup.com text line. You're listening to Out of Bounds, 105.9 The Zone. Bo, do y'all ever dream what Lane Kiffin could do with a QB like Bryce Young?
You mean like Matt Corral?
Dude.
Why are people sold that there's this infinite space above Matt Corral for quarterbacks to exist in? Like that there's so much more room to be better at college quarterbacking.
Yeah, Bryce Young's not better than Matt Corral. I mean,
and I don't know if he would
hard to figure out.
I don't know if he'd be better than Matt Corral as a senior.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Like I know he's not better now, but even if they were the same progression in their career,
right,
I don't know that he would be better.
I guess for fans, but he won on Saturday. Well, great.
Yeah, they didn't win because of Bryce Young.
I mean, Jake Coker beat Dak Prescott in 2014. Who's the better QB, right? I mean, but the way that we look at it is
I mean, Lane Kiffin has said unequivocally Matt Corral is an elite talent at quarterback, and we need to be appreciative of having him because you don't get them very often.
No, you don't. You don't. So Arkansas at Ole Miss, 6.5. Will you get me the over-under? I'm going to go 7. No. I'm going to go 69. 67?
66.
66.
Or 66.5, depending on.
66.
Get it.
Okay. I cannot wait to see that game because they're totally different.
Yeah.
Stylistically. Right? I mean, just the way they're set up and so on. And after coming off disappointing weekends where, I mean, probably got a little too hyped up. I mean, one was an 18.5-point dog, the other one a 14.5-point dog. Both of them got their doors blown off. But you got to regroup and get after it in Oxford on Saturday. And the fact that we get that at 11 a.m. And then that takes us into Georgia and Auburn, I like that. That's fun to me. And I do want to keep an eye on LSU at Kentucky because if Ogeron drops that game, after reading this article by Pete Thamel on Yahoo Sports, I mean, they're basically saying he's either got to get it turned around, and he's not, but he's either got to get it turned around and fast, or he is done. And Scott Woodward will not hire an up-and-comer or the G5 player coach of the month, that he is going to go after James Franklin, Lane Kiffin, Urban Meyer type guy. He's already hired Jimbo Fisher and Buzz Williams at Texas A&M. Mm-hmm. He has hired Kim Mulkey, a national championship coach from Baylor to LSU. Jay Johnson from Arizona to LSU, so he wasn't looking for up-and-comers. He gave Jimbo Fisher $7.5 million years ago when people questioned that. And he kind of laughed at it. He was like, I'm going to go get this guy because that's what I want to do, and I've known Jimbo Fisher since 2000 at LSU when he was Nick Saban's first offensive coordinator. And so that's what he does. And according to the article, he doesn't really care about the $17 million buyout. I mean, one, it's OPM, right? It's just different. It's other people's money. And two, he's going to go to the boosters and he's going to sell. He already has. I feel quite confident that, hey, here's what we need to do and here's what else we're going to have.
You don't want to be the 121st rushing offense in the country? All right, sweet. Let's do this.
Right. Oh, well, that's what it is.
Well, 128, excuse me. I gave him 7 spots. 128th rushing offense in the country.
93rd in passing yards, right?
Yeah, 93rd in passing yards allowed. So defensively, they've not gotten better, even though they have, quote-unquote, a top-round draft pick at corner.
And one of the worst offensive lines in the Southeastern Conference at LSU. That's hard to do, considering the way they recruit.
They were booing Orgeron and the staff Saturday in Baton Rouge.
Also, he was named in a Title IX lawsuit about allegedly mishandling a rape allegation.
Yeah, he's being deposed in 2 different Title IX lawsuits.
And he's 8-7 since winning the national title. Y'all, to our listeners, Out of Bounds 105.9 The Zone. He is 8-7 since winning the national title. And if they lose this weekend, I think you know this from me dropping that, they'll be 8-8. If they go to Lexington, Kentucky and lose, they'll be 8-8 post-national title. And according to this article, Scott Woodward doesn't really care what happened in 2019, which, I mean, when you're a manager, CEO, it's all about 2021. I mean, that's great that happened, and we hope you got a replica ring. But, it's kind of like Mississippi State baseball fans 2 years from now. That natty will be great. They want to play for another one, right? LSU won it in 2019. They're 8-7 since winning the national title. And they dropped games to Mississippi State, Missouri, and that Auburn game that they gave away. But they couldn't even get a playoff. What are you doing? I don't understand. We've got 97 people on the sideline wearing headsets. What is their job? Like, what are they supposed to do Monday through Friday? And on game day, what are they doing? They couldn't get a playoff and had to call a timeout. We're live in the BankPlus Studio. SEC Insider Hit coming up next. The Out of Bounds Show podcast is presented by Edwin Watts Golf Shop on County Line Road. Your golf game starts with Edwin Watts Golf Shop.
Hey guys, listen up.
This is the SEC Insider Hit, powered by Miss Kelly Furniture, Mississippi's number one sleep store.
Look at Blake with this music this morning. Hope you guys are boogieing a little bit in your car on I-20, I-55, Highland Colony, Dogwood. Good morning. Welcome in. Hope you're doing well. I can see John Brazier doing this, shaking it a little bit on the way to Live Oaks Golf Club this morning.
100%.
100%. That's what Blake Scott's given this morning. The Out of Bounds Show. 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. Blake Scott, our Employee of the Month in September. We'll see what he can do in October. Maybe give it another. Yeah, back to. There you go.
Call me the two-time.
Back to back. May pull a Pat Riley. We're live in the BankPlus Studio. The SEC Insider Hit this morning is brought to you by our friends at Miskelly Sleep Store and the Purple Mattress at Miskelly Sleep Store. It is American-made. It reduces pressure, instantly adapts, and doesn't trap heat. And Wendy and I love our Purple Mattress from Miskelly Sleep Store. And you can find it at any of the Miskelly locations. We highly recommend. Go, try it out, test it out, see what you think. Dr. V and the crew at Miskelly Sleep Store and Miskelly Furniture will take care of you. Want to say good morning, welcome in. Thanks for making us your sports and entertainment show of choice in the great state of Mississippi. Blake, are we doing the Fleetway Market giveaway this week or next?
Not this week. I think we're going to do it next week.
Awesome.
But they are selling tailgate catering packages.
And you gave me that deal right here.
That's
and
right.
It looks yummy and delicious.
Pulled pork option, smoked brisket option, or ribs option. All come with 2 large sides, some rolls or buns if you get the pulled pork, and, of course, cookies or brownies for
now
dessert.
I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good. Look, True Maroon won the giveaway a few weeks ago.
Did he really?
He loved it.
He's not worthy, but whatever.
No, he got lucky.
Okay.
But it was a slow day right now. He sent out some pictures. They looked fantastic.
Oh,
and
good.
So,
Did he really?
Yeah.
Will you send me some?
Yeah, I'll do that.
All right,
to you,
cool. All right, so we'll do the fuel up at Fleetway Market tailgating thing next week.
Yes.
And I'm told by our friends at Capital City Beverage that we may do some kind of craft beer Modelo thing with them too.
Oh.
All right, cool. So we'll do that. That's going to be a fun thing, and we'll have a blast with that.
Yep.
Because State and Ole Miss are both playing next week.
Yeah,
I got it.
And
All right.
and the Gluckstadt
State's off this weekend.
That's correct. Gluckstadt location, right there off the interstate on I-55 Gluckstadt. You take a right off the interstate.
Yeah, it's on the east side.
That's right. Fleetway Market. It's right next to a BankPlus, actually, if I'm not mistaken.
Cool.
So that's where they cook all their food. You can get it for lunch every day. It's fantastic. They got the smoked chicken, barbecue, all that stuff. So it's a fantastic spot for a little quick lunch.
So we'll do a fuel up with Fleetway Market catering deal next week.
Yes.
I mean tailgate deal next week.
Yes.
All right, cool.
But you can purchase them any week.
All right. Here's where I want to start today. So people have asked the question, Blake, because we have to do this week to week. Oh my gosh, we got to fire everybody. And Jimbo Fisher, Ed Ogeron, and Dan Mullen had tough losses over the weekend. And we know how hard it is to win in this league. Every single win is precious and coveted. And to take, a bunch of 18, 22-year-olds trying to get everybody ready all week, focused, execute on Saturday, we make it, like it sounds easy when we're smashing some pulled pork from Fleetway Market and drinking a Sam Adams Oktoberfest from our house. Here's the deal, Blake. I have the most confidence by far and away out of the three with Dan Mullen. I mean, it's not even close, okay? I mean, as far as would I hit the panic button? No. Is it frustrating to lose to Kentucky, Auburn at home if you're LSU, Mississippi State at home? I'm sorry, A&M at home against a Mississippi State team that's trying to grow up? Absolutely. It's frustrating, and we all want to win. Dan Mullen, if anybody can get it going, winning a bunch of games, it's Mullen, because he understands how to coach the quarterback position. He's already won at a place that is extremely difficult to win.
Yep.
He produced a ton of NFL, more than, in the history of Mississippi State. He produced a ton of NFL players, and not just NFL players, but guys that are Pro Bowlers or All Pros and are considered top 5 or top 10 at their position, which in that league, as y'all all know, is ridiculous how much talent is on the field on Sundays. So, the step up from Friday night to Saturday is huge, right? And then the step up from Saturday to Sunday is
might
just
be bigger.
Goodness gracious. So I have confidence in Mullen turning it around. I don't know when he's going to, quote unquote, release Anthony Richardson. It may be this weekend when they put a 50 burger on Vanderbilt, because you know how mad they are that they lost at Kentucky this weekend. I will say this. I know you're all of us are locked into Arkansas and Ole Miss, and we should be. And I can't wait to see if, the microwave's plugged in, or if Sam Pittman's got enough barbecue and barbecue stains on his Arkansas golf shirt that works for him. I mean, is it the lane train and the little mad genius play caller, or is it Sam Pittman, who still looks like he can, bench press 300 pounds at 60 years old and get out and do at least a little bit of bull in the ring, or Oklahoma at some point, maybe on a Wednesday, Blake. Maybe this is a good day to do a lot of, Oklahoma and bull in the ring. But as you watch and lock in to Arkansas and Ole Miss, which is the Tito's Vodka Bloody Mary game, because it's 11 a.m. Make sure to add the bacon and all that stuff from breezyoaksranch.com. Blake, watch out LSU at Kentucky. Reading this article on Yahoo Sports by Pete Thamel, and he walks you through what is going on in Baton Rouge. Jordy Collada has already said this thing is a blank show. But reading this article, he calls it. Nobody in the business looks at Les Miles and Ed Ogeron and respects them as strategists or leaders. That's the quote. Big characters? Sure. One that chews grass and the other one that runs through campus with his shirt off? Yeah. I may run down Highland Colony with my shirt off today. Big personalities, definitely. Few are more fun to do impressions of. But as far as high-end football coaches go, Les Miles and Ed Ogeron aren't in the same sphere as the other title-winning coaches of this generation, including Nick Saban, Urban the Grinder Meyer, and Dabo Swinney. They're just not. But yet, that's how powerful that job is, Blake. That's how good that job. When we start asking how good is a job, when you can be an average coach and win a natty,
yep,
that you can stockpile elite, all-American, first round, second round, third round talent almost in your sleep at LSU.
And what was it that pushed them over the hump? It was QB play.
Right.
And I think that circles back to why you have faith in Dan Mullen, is that of those three guys, he's the one that has his hand on QB play the best.
And I know he's got Anthony Richardson in waiting that's going to be a phenomenal. We feel pretty darn confident could be an unbelievable college quarterback.
Certainly in the precedents that Mullen's previous offenses have set.
Right.
He's built in the exact same style of the stars of Mullen offenses of past. But LSU can't find a quarterback outside of Joe Burrow. Can't do anything else.
And here's where I want to go with this Pete Thamel Yahoo Sports article. The real star in Baton Rouge has always been the LSU job itself.
Yep.
That really jumped out at me. Thamel goes on to say the local talent so rich and the fan base so passionate that even Miles and Ogeron could overcome their coaching shortcomings and win at the highest levels. But then this is the kicker to me in the Yahoo Sports article by Pete Thamel on Eddie O and LSU. LSU athletic director Scott Woodward has always been a star chaser. He's hired Jimbo Fisher in other sports that some of you may or may not follow. Kim Mulkey is an absolute star in women's hoops. He just poached her from Baylor. She's either a 2 or 3-time winning national champion. He went and got Jay Johnson at Arizona, who's a phenomenal coach. Baseball, right? We just watched Ole Miss and Arizona in the Super Regional. He hired Buzz Williams from Virginia Tech. Most of you don't care about college basketball. We do, but we can't cover it too much. Buzz Williams is an excellent coach. He poached him from Tech to A&M. According to this article, he's not worried about the $17 million buyout. You know what he's worried about? W's. And Ogeron's 8-7 post national championship at LSU. That's his record. And if they lose this weekend in Lexington, which I'd love to just blink my eyes and be there and go to Keeneland and go to Four Roses Bourbon and do all the fun stuff up there and enjoy the weather. And, that food district is amazing and blah, blah, blah. But LSU at Kentucky, if they lose this weekend, Blake, he'll be 8-8 post national championship. That is difficult to do when you're a top 5 recruiter.
How about this? Ed Orgeron, the magnificent coach you're talking about, went 25-3 with Joe Burrow as quarterback in 2 seasons. Outside of Joe Burrow as his quarterback, he's 39-40 as a head coach. So I just want to say that again. Oh, he went 25-3 in 2 seasons with Joe Burrow.
Okay.
They went 10-3, 15-0.
Right.
Okay, simple math, 25-3.
Right.
Outside of those 2 seasons, Ed Orgeron is 39-40 as a head coach at 3 different stops.
So you're counting Ole Miss, Southern Cal interim, and LSU before and after Joe.
Both the half season and the full job.
39-40
as a head coach.
Okay. All right.
Now, I get that Ole Miss.
And I want you to think about this. Ole Miss has lived as the number 20 recruiter in college football for the last 20 years. Okay? They've had some recruiting classes that are better than that. And some, in fact, Ogre knocked down a number 13 class while he was there.
Yeah.
And then they've had some back, but composite recruiter number 20 the last 20 years. So it's not like Ole Miss doesn't have players. Southern Cal is a top 5 to top 8 recruiter the last 20 years. And LSU's a top 5 recruiter the last 20 years. And you told me he's 39-40 without Joe Burrow at quarterback.
That's correct.
Okay. All right.
LSU signed the 5th rated class in 19, the 4th rated class in 20, and they're the 3rd rated class in 2021.
And yet they don't have an offensive line, and they can't run the football.
Correct.
That is hard to do,
Blake. 5-star running back who they beat Georgia for, John Emery, somehow became academically ineligible when some things fell through the cracks over summer school. You're a multi-billion-dollar football program, because that's what the value economically you bring to the state of Louisiana is. It's over the course of its tenure, it's billions of dollars. And you can't there's not an academic aide who makes sure that your best starting running back doesn't get academically ineligible because he takes the wrong summer school class.
Yeah. Let's go LSU real quick. Ogeron's not going to make it. I think by next year, Blake, mid-season, we're going to be in the same boat with Jimbo Fisher. And that's going to be real interesting. Ross Bjork just re-upped and extended him in the offseason. And so they owe him forever. It's incredible. And it's incredible, I guess, what Jimmy Sexton is able to do to universities and ADs and hijack their athletic departments and milk them for everything they're worth. But
because who's coming to steal Jimbo Fisher from you?
Well, in this article, it says that Scott Woodward would actually look. I don't think he would look now the way this is trending. And A&M's going to lose this weekend to Alabama.
By 30.
So they're going to lose to an Alabama team that I think is far, far, far from special. And and he'll start off 0-3, making $9.5 million a year.
And he still has Auburn, Ole Miss, and LSU after his bye week.
Lane's going to beat the brakes off of him.
Yeah, and they could lose to Auburn easily.
Sure.
So yeah,
sure.
It's a hot mess in the SEC West.
Some of the names that they mentioned in this article are James Franklin from Penn State, Lane Kiffin from Ole Miss, Urban Meyer from the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then, Blake, you kind of run out of runway, don't you?
I think so.
If he's going to go big, if Scott
Exactly.
Woodward, LSU AD, is going to go big game hunting, James Franklin's a big name.
Yep.
Lane Kiffin's a big name, fair or not. And Urban Meyer's a big name. Now, Urban's been a big name the last 5 days for reasons not around winning a national title twice at Florida and once at Ohio State. But he is, you can say what you want about how he lacks self-awareness. A lot of coaches lack self-awareness. You can say what you want about, what he did this past weekend and so on, and whether or not he's going to be a good NFL coach. But he is a phenomenal, unbelievable, one of the best ever at coaching college football. What he did at Bowling Green, incredible. What he did at Utah, unbelievable. Well, he's the reason why Utah's in the Power Five. We forget that when Urban Meyer and Dan Mullen were at Utah, they were G5.
Were they Mountain West or something like that?
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Whatever. I've never been able to
keep track of all that.
I don't know the difference. Mountain West and WAC. I mean,
Yeah.
who cares? But I know every now and then they give us a good quarterback because it's out west and cool stuff like that happens every now and then. Anyway, it's a good piece. You may want to read it. Yahoo Sports, Pete Thamel on Eddie O and LSU. Now, let's switch gears. We've got a lot of family ties going on this weekend with Arkansas and Ole Miss. Jeff Levy, Lane Kiffin's offensive coordinator, and Kendall Briles, Sam Pittman's offensive coordinator, are brother-in-laws, Blake. So are they trading texts this week, or are they just kind of going to let that rest?
Yeah, I would think.
Are they capable of trading a few texts? They're not going to tell you. Well, they know each other like the back of their hand, but which is something to think about, by the way.
Tendencies, knowing
absolutely.
their thought. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What do you like to do on first down? What do you like to do on third down? And so on. And down and distance and all that fun stuff. But and Lane Kiffin has employed both of them.
Yep.
Kendall Briles was Lane Kiffin's offensive coordinator for a couple of years at FAU. And then, of course, Jeff Levy is in year 2 at Ole Miss as the OC under Lane Train. So, and then I think a big question is, will the microwave be plugged in or not at 11 a.m.? I think it will be.
It better be.
I look for a bounce-back game. I know what Matt Corral did last year against Arkansas. I know how many picks he threw, and I know Barry Odom is just an awesome, awesome coach and defensive coordinator. And really got a raw deal at Missouri. I don't – that's a weird deal. Anyway,
but it does
the way he got fired as the head coach, but he's got a super job as defensive coordinator at Arkansas. I don't think he'll be there long. Do you remember Eddie O tried to hire him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Eddie O wanted Odom or Zach Arnett. He couldn't get either of them.
Yeah.
Settled on a non-coaching pedigree guy out of the NFL. He did the same with OC. He couldn't get the right OC, so he had to settle for a Joe Brady, friend.
Can I throw out one more game this weekend? Oklahoma, Texas at 11 a.m., the Red River rivalry shootout.
Yep.
Now, here's the deal. 99.9% of my audience is going to be watching Arkansas and Ole Miss, and I will too. But I will have 2 TVs going just to see what's going on with Lincoln Riley in Oklahoma and Steve Sarkisian in Texas, because they may play twice this year. They may play this weekend, 11 a.m., on the fairgrounds in the Dallas metro area. And then they may play again, Blake, in the Big 12 championship. Ole Miss still has the capability of throwing up a ridiculous number this year. Brad Edwards and I were talking on Sunday, and he said, I still think Ole Miss can go 10-2. He's not the guy that goes overboard on the loss. Look, they didn't get off on the right foot. Bama has embarrassed a lot of good teams. Mm-hmm. I still think Ole Miss is built in a good way this year, and I still think nothing changed over the weekend, Blake. The SEC West and the SEC East, for whatever reason, is way, way down. and it's a good year to be. It's an opportunistic year to be good.
Yeah, and I think that when you look at their schedule, too, like you said, it's daunting, but it makes watching that Texas-Oklahoma game more interesting because that's got massive playoff implications, and there is still an opportunity for Ole Miss to backdoor this thing.
Oh, no doubt.
It's not over. I know it feels over a little bit, but it's not over.
It's not over when you're that good on offense, and I know people are looking at the 42-7 at one point in the game. Ole Miss, the defense, is it great? No, and you don't have to be great. They made it difficult for Bama at times. They just didn't get any help.
Well, and the crazy part is as poor as Bama is offensively, I'm still looking at the rest of this schedule, and I think that's still the best offense Ole Miss will play.
Yes.
I don't think there's another Arkansas, Tennessee, LSU, Auburn. Maybe Liberty will be the best offense.
That may be.
I don't know. I mean,
Liberty and Mississippi State may be the other two offenses
that actually give them trouble.
That actually can throw it around. Auburn can't throw it around consistently. LSU can't.
Nope.
A&M can't.
Nope.
Tennessee cannot.
Arkansas can't.
And Arkansas can't. Arkansas is going to try to really make the game muddy and cloudy and gross.
And slow. They want to slow it down.
And frustrate Ole Miss again. Y'all know this. You watch the game. 2.5 minutes left in the first quarter on Saturday. The two teams had each had the ball once. Lane Train wanted to be on his third possession.
That doesn't happen. Yeah, that's very odd.
So Lane and Ole Miss milked the heck out of it on their first possession. Then Bama took over on downs, I think inside the 5 or definitely the 10. And Bama doesn't go for 30 and 40 and 50 yards this year. They had to methodically work down the field. And their running back, Robinson, is not super special. He's good.
Just a bruiser. Just a pounder.
They couldn't even open holes that you would think they would have the ability to open against that Ole Miss defense. But it goes back to what Brad Edwards told us last week. The Alabama offensive line is not what they've had.
Yeah.
They are a work in progress. But they still felt Blake Saban and Bill O'Brien still felt like they could move Ole Miss enough to chew up the clock, keep the ball, and grind it out and keep the best player in the stadium, Matt Corral, on the sideline.
Yeah, Alabama ran the ball 50 times for 210 yards. It's not a big average, but it's a big number of carries, and that wears your defense down. I expect the same mode of attack from Arkansas. Slow it down. Sam Pittman would love nothing more than to have each team get one possession a quarter. That would be ideal for Sam Pittman.
Right.
Give Ole Miss 4 to 5 possessions over the whole game, and let's see if we can win this thing 23-20 in what is an ugly, not boring, but ugly, not offensively explosive game.
Lane Train wants to get up over 30 as soon as he can and try to make a run at 40. But he wants to get to 30 sooner than later.
Yep.
Right?
Ole Miss can come back. Arkansas can't.
That's right.
That's
exactly.
If
Arkansas gets up, you're right. 14-7.
14-3 even.
14-3, which I don't
bad.
see that. But if it happened, Lane's not going to miss a beat. If Arkansas goes down 14-3,
it could be over.
Curtains. Go ahead, and Arkansas go ahead and go and check, the grill and go to Oklahoma and Texas. The Out of Bounds Show is brought to you by the Purple Mattress at Miskelly Sleep Store. It's made in America, American-made mattress that reduces pressure on your body, instantly adapts to your body. And this is what I love. It does not trap heat. The Purple Mattress at Miskelly Sleep Store. Wendy and I love our Purple Mattress from Miskelly Sleep Store. Go see Dr. B and the team at any of the Miskelly locations. Try it out. Lay down on it. Let them tell you about it. The Purple Mattress at Miskelly Furniture and Miskelly Sleep Store. We're live in the BankPlus Studio. Want to say good morning. Welcome in. Out of Bounds, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. Live in the BankPlus Studio.